Hi everyone! In today's video I'll be showing you 4 different ways to wear feather butterflies in your hair. Recently I've seen a lot of these pretty crowns and clips both on Pinterest and Instagram, and with summer music festivals, Renaissance fairs, and warm weather parties coming up, I thought it might be fun to design my own accessories and share them with all of you. For this project you'll obviously need butterflies. These are all made from feathers and they came from both Amazon and Etsy. I'll leave direct links to the shops that sold them to me just in case you're interested. However, they're definitely available in several other places online. You'll also need ribbon, and here I have an ivory and a soft gray. In terms of tools, I have a pair of scissors, some chain nose pliers, wire cutters, and round nose pliers. I've also got silver craft wire in 20, 24, and 28 gauge, although I really only use the 24 during this project. You'll need a glue gun and glue sticks or whatever adhesive you prefer. And for the crown I'll be using this brown twine as my base. The individual butterflies will all require some sort of metal clip like these. And for the solitary butterfly clip I found some of those flat snap accessories in a local drugstore. And last but not least I have plain thin headbands. Decorative materials include small flat gems from the scrapbooking section of my art store, but I'll also be using some Swarovski stones that were left over from a different project. The colors I'm working with are brown, burnt orange, light blue, and dark blue. And I'll also be resorting to a series of small glass pearls in white, ivory, and taupe. The first step is the most obvious in that you'll need to open up the butterflies. I actually have quite a few to unpackage because I'm making several different pieces to give you guys some variety. Some of these butterflies came attached along a nylon string to be used like a garland across a room, and then some of them had these easily removable bendies on the back. I decided to cut away anything extra, that way I'd only be working with the feather butterflies themselves. However, I'll be replacing the original attachments with something more substantial. And I'm also going to use this opportunity to dress them up a little too. I'm using a 24 gauge craft wire, and I'm simply cutting a good 8 inches or so before putting a small pearl onto the center. Then the wire is folded in half and the ends are pushed through either side of the wings. The object is to get the wire fold and the pearl to sit in the center of the butterfly body. I chose to reinforce everything with a dab of hot glue, and then if I felt like it might look cute, I'd either attach a few more pearls to the center or use some of the scrapbooking gems. I also used a jewelry glue and a paintbrush to attach some of the gems to the wings, and that was just for extra sparkle. Basically, these steps were repeated on every single butterfly that I was using, and it took me a few hours just to complete this part of the prep. With that finished and knocked out of the way, it was on to the demonstrations themselves. The first is the flat snap clip, and in my opinion it's the most low-key and everyday looking accessory in the bunch that I'm going to show you. As you can see, I opened up my clip and began by attaching a large orange butterfly. To do this I simply wrapped the wire around the top part of the clip until it felt secure. One of the things I'd like to point out is that you could definitely just glue them on and that would work just fine, but the wire is really awesome in that it enables you to move and bend the butterfly around on the clip however you choose. This gives you, as the wearer, the opportunity to customize the position of the butterflies even while wearing the clip in your hair. So if you feel like a section of the clip is peeking through, you can just pull it over and hide it relatively easily. Because this particular clip was so long, I had enough room to attach 3 more small butterflies as well. And putting this into the hair is really easy, and if you've ever worn a flat snap clip, you'll know that you can secure a French twist, a low ponytail, or even a half up, which is what I'm doing here. I chose not to make any braids or curls either because I kind of feel that like when you have one great showpiece accessory, it's not necessary. The second demonstration are the single butterfly clips, and these were my daughter's favorites because there really are endless ways to wear them. I bought these little metal snap clips from a local Michael's, and they were great for my project because the open and closed jaws gave me a lot of space to wrap my wire. To be honest, this isn't so different from the first demo because all I'm doing is selecting butterflies in various shapes and colors and wrapping them around the tops of these clips. And because they were a little bit smaller, I did end up having to snip off some of the wire with the cutters, but it wasn't a big deal. As I said earlier, there are tons of ways to wear these. You could wear 1 or 2 or even 10 depending on the occasion or your mood. Today I decided to go all out and try something that's somewhat eccentric. Think the animated version of Rapunzel, except instead of flowers, butterflies. I made a simple over-the-shoulder braid, nothing special, and began loading it up. This set isn't color or size coordinated, although that's definitely an idea you could give a try. Personally though, I kind of liked everything being a bit mismatched. I also decided to try them out in my loose hair, which did feel a smidge less practical, but was still fun. The third demonstration are the headbands, and I'm going to show you 2 different versions that I made with 2 different sets of butterflies. To start, I've selected my soft gray ribbon, and I'm using the glue gun to help me attach it to the headband. Obviously, this is most definitely an optional step, but my thought was that the ribbon would give a more polished appearance at the end. The butterflies I chose for this first piece were all the same size and color, and again I'm using the wire to secure them around the top of the headband. This demo is definitely a little more involved than the first two because I had to stop and think about placement and height more often. In some places I'd wrap the wire around more tightly so some of the butterflies would appear closer to the head, and in other areas I fastened them around higher up so that those would look as though they were flying up and away from the head. It was basically just a rotation of this pattern all the way across, and once they were in place I just used the wire cutters to snip off any excess and then the chain nose pliers to get unruly ends to lay flush. The second headband was made in the exact same way, except I used an ivory ribbon and a pink, green, and white set of smaller butterflies. The purple headband was sort of inspired by some of the Easter bonnets I saw during my recent trip to New Orleans. There were tons of hats that sported a butterfly theme, and that lavender seemed to be a popular color. You can see that I chose to leave my hair straight and down on the shoulders, but I think you could style your tresses in all sorts of ways around these accessories. The last demo is my personal favorite. It's a complete all the way around the head crown, and I'm looking forward to wearing it this summer with my costume at the Renaissance Fair in upstate New York. I began by unspooling some twine and measuring it around my head, which I did off camera. I left a small opening in the back because I didn't want it to connect the whole way around, and that's because I was planning on using that space to hang some ribbons. As you can see, I bent the ends into 2 tabs to keep my place there, and I cut 2 pieces of ivory ribbon, doubled them up, and knotted them over the frame. Like everything I've shown you thus far, the butterflies are secured to the twine by wrapping their wire around it. I knew I was going to use an assortment of shapes and colors, so just like with the headbands, I took a couple of moments to plan it out in my mind before I began to work. I decided that the larger butterflies should go on the back and in the middle since they might overwhelm my face if they were attached at the front of the crown. The medium butterflies were scattered all over and in between the big ones. The small ones were perfect for the very front of the headdress, and I also used them as fillers whenever I thought I saw a gap. Some were bound closely to the crown and others were not, and I did work from side to side, that way my design was as even as was possible. Initially, I was only going to use the white ribbon, but halfway through I felt inspired to deviate from my original plan, so I added in some sky blue and magenta as well. I also thought that instead of tying the ribbon in a bow in the back, I could seal that space with a larger one. I had this great green and purple 2-inch wide trim, and you can see that I'm tying it in such a way that it's still hanging down my back on either side, but it's also connecting both ends of the crown. And with that last detail, it was finished. All that was left was to put it on and adjust my butterflies accordingly. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Did you like these projects? Would you ever wear one of them? And if yes, to what occasion? As always, I'll have all my social media links in the description, and if you liked my video, I'd love for you to throw me a thumbs up or subscribe. Hope you're all having a wonderful spring, and until next time, have fun and keep braiding. Bye!